There is a truth in life that often goes unnoticed, a principle so simple yet so profound. The people you choose to keep close shape the direction of your journey, the strength of your character, and the clarity of your purpose. Every conversation, every interaction, every connection carries energy, and that energy has the power to build you up or tear you down, to inspire growth or foster doubt, to ignite your potential or drain your drive. The company you keep is not just a reflection of who you are, it is a determinant of who you are becoming. Too often we allow convenience, familiarity, or obligation to dictate who stays in our circle, and in doing so we compromise our peace, our focus, and in doing so we compromise our peace, our focus, and our progress. Surrounding yourself wisely is not about judgment or pride. It is about stewardship of your life, protecting the energy that fuels your vision and creating an environment where growth, purpose, and strength can flourish. To be selective is to be intentional, to recognize that every person you allow near your heart and mind leaves a mark, shapes your thoughts, and influences your trajectory. And in that discernment lies freedom. The freedom to choose relationships that uplift, challenge, and empower you, and the courage to release those that distract, diminish, or derail your path. For a life of purpose demands clarity, focus, demands clarity, focus. And the wisdom to guard the company you keep. Life has a way of teaching hard lessons about who belongs in your circle and who does not. And often these lessons come not with clarity, but with subtle, almost imperceptible signs. From the very beginning, you encounter people who bring light, encouragement, and energy, and others who bring doubt, distraction, or even quiet destruction. And the challenge lies in discerning between them, because not everyone who calls themselves a friend, a partner, or a companion has your best interest at heart. Understanding that not everyone belongs in your circle is not about judgment or arrogance. It is about wisdom, discernment, and the courage to protect the energy and the life you are building. You begin by paying attention to the effects people have on you. Some people energize you, inspire you to be better, and make you feel capable, confident, and seen. Their presence is affirming. It is growth-oriented and life-giving. You notice their encouragement, their consistency, their willingness to hold you accountable with care and integrity. You feel safe with them not because they never challenge you, but because their challenge comes from a place of respect, love, and a shared understanding of your worth. These are the people who belong in your circle. On the other side, there are those who drain you, who leave you feeling exhausted, doubtful, or insecure. They may not even intend harm, but their energy is consuming. Some thrive on conflict, manipulation, or negativity, and some are simply incompatible with the life you are called to live. They may be inconsistent in their loyalty, unreliable in their support, or critical in ways that diminish rather than inspire. They ask more than they give, they take more than they contribute, and they leave you questioning your own strength, values, or purpose. Understanding that these people do not belong is an act of protection, a commitment to honor your own growth and peace. The challenge is that the people who do not belong in your circle often appear familiar, comfortable, or even indispensable. They may have been with you through history, shared memories, or moments of hardship. It can be tempting to hold on to them out of loyalty, nostalgia, or fear of confrontation. Yet familiarity is not always a sign of alignment, and longevity does not guarantee positivity. The people who belong in your circle are defined not by history, but by the present impact they have on your life, the energy they bring, and the mutual respect that sustains the relationship. Discernment requires self-awareness. You have to know yourself, your values, your limits, and your goals in order to see who aligns with them. Without self-awareness, you become vulnerable to manipulation, distraction, or negative influence. Self-awareness allows you to observe patterns, to recognize how interactions affect your emotions, and to measure whether a relationship contributes to your growth or diminishes it. It allows you to distinguish between temporary discomfort that comes from healthy challenge and ongoing strain that comes from misalignment. Boundaries are an essential part of this understanding. Recognizing that not everyone belongs in your circle is meaningless if you do not act on it. Boundaries define what is acceptable, what is tolerated, and what is non-negotiable. They protect your energy, your peace, and your focus. They create a framework in which relationships can thrive without consuming you, and they serve as a signal to others about how you value yourself. Establishing boundaries may be uncomfortable at first, and it may lead to conflict, disappointment, or resistance. But the long-term benefit of clarity, peace, and alignment far outweighs temporary discomfort. It is also a practice of courage. Letting go of people who do not belong is rarely easy. It often involves confronting difficult truths, navigating emotional attachment, and facing the reactions of those who may feel rejected or offended. Courage in this context is not about aggression. It is about steadfastness, honesty, and commitment to your own well-being. It is the willingness to say no to relationships that harm your energy, distract you from your purpose, or undermine your integrity, even when it feels uncomfortable or lonely. Every act of courage reinforces the understanding that your life is too valuable to spend on connections that do not nourish you. Surrounding yourself wisely transforms your environment. When you actively curate your circle, you create a network of people who support your growth, challenge your complacency, and celebrate your successes without jealousy or manipulation. You build a community of mutual respect and shared vision where energy is exchanged intentionally. Encouragement is authentic, and accountability is welcomed. The relationships that remain are not burdens. They are catalysts for progress, sources of strength and mirrors reflecting the best in yourself. At the same time, recognizing who does not belong allows you to reclaim your focus. Every moment, every conversation, every interaction is an investment of energy. When you are around people who drain you, your attention is divided, your confidence shaken, and your growth slowed. By releasing relationships that do not serve you, you free space for the people, experiences, and opportunities that accelerate your journey. You gain clarity to pursue goals without distraction, courage to make decisions without fear, and strength to live in alignment with your values and purpose. The process is ongoing. Life is dynamic, and people evolve, as do you. Some relationships may shift from misalignment to harmony, and others may drift from alignment to strain. Understanding that not everyone belongs in your circle is not a one-time decision. It is a daily practice of observation, reflection, and adjustment. You constantly evaluate who adds value to your life, who challenges you constructively, and who supports your growth in ways that are meaningful and authentic. Ultimately, understanding that not everyone belongs in your circle is about empowerment. It is the recognition that your energy, your peace, and your life are sacred and deserve protection. It is the realization that growth, success, and fulfillment flourish in environments where support, integrity, and positivity are abundant. By surrounding yourself with the right people, you create a circle that strengthens your spirit, inspires your ambition, and nurtures your purpose. By releasing those who do not belong, you reclaim your power, protect your clarity, and honor the life you are meant to lead. In the end, your circle is a reflection of your choices, your boundaries, and your commitment to living intentionally. The people who belong in it are those who uplift, challenge, and support you, without diminishing your worth. The ones who do not belong are not failures or enemies. They are signals guiding you toward discernment, teaching you the value of self-respect, and showing you the importance of curating your life with intention. Understanding this truth allows you to step forward with clarity, courage, and purpose, knowing that the right circle propels you, inspires you, and strengthens every step of your journey toward greatness. Life has a way of teaching lessons through experience, and one of the most powerful lessons you can learn is how to recognize the difference between energy givers and energy drainers. Every person you interact with carries a certain energy, a force that influences your mood, your mindset, and your ability to act. Some people lift you, inspire you, and fill you with courage, while others leave you feeling exhausted, uncertain, or diminished. Understanding this difference is not just important, it is essential for living a life of purpose, clarity, and unstoppable momentum, because the people you surround yourself with will either propel you forward or hold you back. Energy givers are those who bring light to your life without demanding it in return. They are consistent in their support, present in moments that matter, and genuine in their encouragement. Being around them is like standing in the sun after a storm. Your spirit feels brighter, your confidence is strengthened, and your motivation is renewed. Energy givers challenge you, but their challenge is constructive. They push you toward growth, inspire you to stretch beyond your comfort zone, and remind you of your potential, even when self-doubt tries to creep in. Their presence leaves a residue of optimism, resilience, and clarity that lingers long after the interaction ends. Energy drainers, on the other hand, are subtle in their depletion. They may not always intend harm, but their presence diminishes your capacity to thrive. They sow doubt under the guise of advice, criticize disguised as concern, or demand more than they give. Spending time with them feels heavy, not because you are weak, but because their energy is misaligned with your purpose. They take without replenishing, distract without offering solutions, and often leave you questioning yourself, your choices, or you, our worth. Unlike energy givers, energy drainers create friction, confusion, and tension, and over time, that cumulative drain erodes confidence, focus, and emotional stability. Recognizing the difference begins with awareness of how you feel in the presence of others. Energy givers leave you lighter, more capable, and inspired to take action. Energy drainers leave you fatigued, doubtful, or emotionally unsettled. Your body and your emotions are honest barometers, if you pay attention. Notice the subtle tension in your shoulders, the mental chatter that arises, the heaviness in your chest, or the fatigue that is not physical but emotional. These are signals that energy is being mismanaged, that someone may be taking more than they are giving, and that discernment is required. Observation is another tool. Energy givers are consistent over time. They celebrate your wins without jealousy, encourage you during setbacks without judgment, and honor your boundaries without resentment. They listen as much as they speak, and their interactions are mutually beneficial. Energy drainers, by contrast, reveal patterns of inconsistency, self-centeredness, and emotional volatility. They may be supportive in fleeting moments, but over time, their presence is unpredictable, draining, and disruptive to your focus. Recognizing these patterns requires honest reflection and the willingness to see people for who they are, not for who you wish they were. Boundaries are the bridge between recognition and action. Once you can identify energy givers and energy drainers, you have the responsibility to protect yourself. Boundaries allow you to maintain contact with energy givers while limiting exposure to energy drainers. This is not about cutting people off arbitrarily. It is about creating a framework where your energy, focus, and peace are preserved. Boundaries may be physical, emotional, or mental, but their purpose is the same: to ensure that your life is not hijacked by forces that do not support your growth, purpose, or well-being. It is important to remember that the process of recognition and boundary setting is a practice of courage. People who drain your energy often resist or react to the limits you impose. They may attempt to guilt you, manipulate your emotions, or pressure you into compliance. Courage in this context is not aggression. It is steadiness, clarity, and the refusal to compromise your peace for the sake of temporary comfort or approval. Every time you honor your boundaries, you reinforce the value of your own energy and demonstrate to yourself and others that your life is yours to direct. Being selective with your relationships is transformative. As you surround yourself more with energy givers and less with energy drainers, you notice a shift in your capacity for focus, creativity, and resilience. Tasks that once felt overwhelming become manageable because your mental and emotional energy is intact. Challenges that seemed insurmountable are approached with clarity and confidence. Opportunities that were previously obscured by fatigue or distraction now come into view, and you are able to act decisively because your energy is aligned with your purpose. Energy givers also teach reciprocity and mutual respect. You begin to understand that uplifting relationships are not passive. They require contribution from both sides. You learn to give as you receive, to offer support, encouragement, and presence, creating a cycle of positivity that strengthens both your spirit and the spirits of those around you. This mutual investment amplifies growth, deepens trust, and reinforces the understanding that your energy is powerful and deserving of intentional stewardship. The difference between energy givers and energy drainers also impacts your long-term vision. People you allow into your circle shape your mindset, your confidence, and your choices. Energy givers inspire you to reach higher, believe more deeply, and pursue goals with determination. Energy drainers encourage self-doubt, hesitation, and distraction, and their influence can subtly shape your decisions, leading you away from alignment with your purpose. Choosing wisely whom you surround yourself with is not optional. It is essential for sustaining progress and protecting your trajectory. Ultimately, recognizing the difference is about empowerment. It is about understanding that your energy is finite, your focus is precious, and your potential is too important to be squandered. It is the discipline of observation, reflection, and decisive action. It is the practice of seeking people who add value, challenge you constructively, and reinforce your growth while releasing or limiting exposure to those who subtract from your strength. When you master this discernment, you step into a life defined by intentionality, resilience, and unstoppable forward momentum. Your energy becomes a tool for creation rather than depletion. Your relationships become catalysts for growth rather than sources of distraction. And your life becomes a reflection of the deliberate choices you make to protect, preserve, and amplify your potential. Recognizing the difference between energy givers and energy drainers is not a one-time lesson. It is a lifelong practice that ensures your journey is sustained, focused, and empowered, allowing you to step fully into the purpose, impact, and empowered, allowing you to step fully into the purpose, impact, and greatness you were meant to achieve. There comes a moment in every life when you realize that not everyone around you is helping you grow, that some people's influence is not uplifting, but draining, and that continuing to remain close to certain individuals comes at the expense of your peace, focus, and your potential. The courage it takes to distance yourself from negative influences is not loud or flashy. It is quiet, deliberate, and deeply personal. It is the kind of courage that requires honesty with yourself, a recognition of your worth, and a commitment to the life you are meant to live. Even when it means discomfort, confrontation, or temporary loneliness, negative influences are subtle. They do not always appear as obvious hostility or aggression. Sometimes they come as criticism masked as advice, doubt disguised as concern, or distraction hidden in familiarity. They drain energy, diminish confidence, and subtly shape your choices in ways that do not serve your purpose. Recognizing these influences requires clarity and self-awareness. You must pay attention to how you feel after interactions, notice patterns of stress, frustration, or self-doubt, and be honest about the long-term impact of these relationships on your mental, emotional, and spiritual well-being. Once awareness is established, courage becomes essential. It is easy to ignore the toll, to rationalize behavior, or to hope that things will change, but real courage is acting when action is necessary. It takes bravery to create distance from people who have been part of your life, to sever ties with familiar patterns, and to face the reactions of those who may not understand your decision. Courage here is not about anger or aggression. It is about self-respect, self-preservation, and a commitment to your growth. Clarity and peace-setting distance is an act of protection, not punishment. It is a recognition that your energy is finite and that your potential cannot be realized if you allow constant interference from negativity. Distance can take many forms: physical separation, emotional boundaries, or limiting the time and energy you invest in certain relationships. The goal is not to create isolation, but to reclaim space where your mind, heart, and spirit can thrive without the weight of external drain. Every step you take to protect your energy reinforces the value of your time and the importance of your personal growth. This courage is reinforced by self-compassion. Distancing yourself from negative influences can be accompanied by guilt, doubt, or fear of judgment. You may question whether you are being too harsh, too selfish, or too demanding. Self-compassion reminds you that protecting your life, your focus, and your purpose is not selfish. It is necessary. It reminds you that growth requires tough decisions, and that honoring yourself is not negotiable. By treating yourself with kindness and understanding, you reinforce the resolve to maintain distance and strengthen your ability to act in alignment with your values. The benefits of this courage are profound. Once you distance yourself from negative influences, you begin to notice a shift in your clarity, energy, and focus. Life feels lighter because you are no longer carrying the weight of opinions, doubts, or criticism that do not serve you. Your mind becomes sharper because it is not clouded by conflict or manipulation. Your goals become clearer because your attention is directed toward what truly matters. The space created by this distance allows you to invest fully in relationships, opportunities, and experiences that align with your purpose and elevate your spirit. Distancing yourself also cultivates resilience and discernment. You become more attuned to the quality of influence you allow into your life and more intentional about the people you engage with. You learn to recognize early warning signs of negative influence, to honor your boundaries without hesitation, and to prioritize energy-giving connections over convenience or obligation. This practice strengthens your character. Sharpens your judgment and reinforces the principle that your life, your energy, and your potential are worth protecting at all costs. It is also a lesson in leadership and personal authority. By choosing to distance yourself from negativity, you model the importance of self-respect and intentional living. You set a standard for how you expect to be treated and the quality of interactions you will allow in your life. Others may resist or misunderstand your decisions, but over time, the clarity and consistency of your boundaries command respect and establish the framework for healthier, more supportive relationships. Ultimately, the courage to distance yourself from negative influences is about reclaiming your power. It is a declaration that you will not be diminished by toxicity, that your energy is sacred, and that your life is meant for growth, purpose, and fulfillment. It allows you to step into spaces where your potential can be realized, your focus preserved, and your spirit strengthened. Every act of courage, every boundary set, and every decision to protect your life brings you closer to living intentionally, fully, and unapologetically, surrounded by positivity, support, and opportunities that reflect the greatness you were always meant to embrace. Life is shaped not only by the choices we make, but by the people we allow close enough to influence our thoughts, our actions, and our energy. Investing in relationships that inspire, challenge, and support you is not just a decision. It is a commitment to your growth, your purpose, and your peace. These are the relationships that elevate you when you are down, push you when you are stagnant, and walk beside you when the road is difficult. They are intentional, reciprocal, and rooted in respect and shared vision, and they carry the power to transform ordinary lives into extraordinary journeys. Inspiring relationship. Are the ones that light a fire in your spirit. They remind you of your potential, awaken creativity, and encourage you to see possibilities beyond your immediate circumstances. Being around people who inspire you is like standing on higher ground. Their vision, determination, and courage serve as a mirror reflecting the greatness that already resides within you. Inspiration is contagious, and when you invest in relationships that bring this energy into your life, you find yourself thinking bigger, reaching higher, and believing in yourself with renewed confidence. Challenging relationships are equally vital. These are the connections that push you out of comfort zones, hold you accountable to your promises, and confront you when you fall into patterns of complacency or fear. They do not diminish you. They strengthen you. Challenge, when delivered with care and respect, is a catalyst for growth. It forces reflection, sparks improvement, and teaches resilience. Without challenge, life becomes stagnant and progress slows. Surrounding yourself with people who challenge you ensures that you are constantly evolving, sharpening your skills, and refining your character. Supportive relationships form the foundation on which inspiration and challenge can thrive. Support is not about enabling weakness or shielding from reality. It is about being present, consistent, and reliable. It is the comfort of knowing that when you stumble, there are hands to lift you without judgment, ears to listen without distraction, and hearts that believe in you, even when self-doubt creeps in. Supportive people provide stability in the storms of life, a safe harbor where you can regroup, refocus, and recover your energy before pressing forward. Investing in these relationships means valuing trust, loyalty, and mutual respect. Understanding that growth flourishes best in environments that nurture, rather than deplete intentionality, is key in all of this. You cannot stumble into these relationships by accident. They require discernment, effort, and consistency. You must recognize who brings out the best in you, who challenges you to rise, and who offers genuine support. You must invest your energy in nurturing these connections, giving as much as you receive, and fostering mutual respect and care. The depth of your investment will determine the strength of the bond and the impact it has on your life. Surrounding yourself with the right people is a deliberate act, a choice to protect your energy while amplifying your potential. Investing in these relationships also requires boundaries. Not everyone will meet you in the way you need, and that is not a reflection of your worth or theirs. It is about alignment. Protecting your time, energy, and focus allows you to nurture connections that truly matter, while limiting exposure to relationships that drain, distract, or diminish you. Boundaries ensure that the relationships you invest in are balanced, intentional, and mutually enriching, creating space for growth, clarity, and resilience. The ripple effect of investing in the right relationships is profound. Your mindset shifts, your confidence strengthens, and your energy multiplies. Inspiration fuels action, challenge hones skill and character, and support sustains momentum. You begin to approach life with a clarity and focus that were previously obscured by distraction or negativity. Your goals become attainable because the people around you elevate your capacity, provide insight, and encourage perseverance. The synergy of inspiration, challenge, and support creates an environment where growth is inevitable and success becomes a natural byproduct of intentional living. These relationships also teach valuable lessons about reciprocity and accountability. When you invest in others who inspire, challenge, and support you, you learn to do the same in return. You understand that relationships thrive on mutual respect, honesty, and effort. You give your time, encouragement, and energy intentionally, reinforcing a cycle of growth, empowerment, and shared vision. This reciprocity strengthens bonds and builds a network of influence that extends beyond personal gain, creating a community grounded in trust, integrity, and purpose. Ultimately, investing in relationships that inspire, challenge, and support you is about creating a life aligned with your values, purpose, and potential. It is about surrounding yourself with people who elevate your spirit, hold you accountable to your goals, and provide unwavering support when needed. These relationships are not superficial or convenient. They are transformative, intentional, and enduring. They shape the way you think, the way you act, and the trajectory of your life. By choosing wisely, nurturing deeply, and protecting these connections, you set the stage for unstoppable growth. You move through life with confidence, resilience, and clarity, understanding that the people you invest in influence the energy you carry, the opportunities you pursue, and the legacy you create. Surrounding yourself wisely ensures that your journey is fueled by purpose, sustained by support, and inspired by vision, allowing you to step fully into the life you were meant to live, equipped to face challenges, embrace opportunities, and achieve the greatness that is your birthright. Life has a way of teaching you that the people around you matter more than you might realize. Every conversation, every interaction, every connection carries energy that can either build you up or wear you down. Investing in relationships that inspire, challenge, and support you is not just about companionship. It is about surrounding yourself with forces that elevate your spirit, sharpen your mind, and strengthen your resolve. These relationships are intentional, reciprocal, and purposeful. And they are the ones that allow you to grow into the person you were always meant to become. Inspiring relationships are the ones that light a fire in your heart and push you to see possibilities beyond your immediate circumstances. Being around people who inspire you is like standing in sunlight after a storm. Their vision, determination, and courage reflect the greatness that already exists within you. They make you think bigger, act bolder, and believe more deeply in your own potential. Inspiration in relationships is contagious. It fuels creativity, renews passion, and strengthens resilience. It reminds you that your goals are attainable and that your dreams are worthy of pursuit. Even when the road feels long or uncertain, challenging relationships are equally important. These are the people who do not settle for mediocrity, who hold you accountable when you stray, and who push you to rise when comfort tempts you to remain stagnant. Challenge in relationships is not about criticism for the sake of ego or control. It is about constructive tension that forces growth. It teaches patience, discipline, and perseverance. When you invest in relationships that challenge you, you develop mental toughness and emotional strength. You learn to confront fears, to navigate adversity, and to refine your character. Challenge becomes a mirror that reflects where improvement is possible and a spark that ignites personal transformation. Supportive relationships form the foundation upon which inspiration and challenge can thrive. Support is not about enabling weakness or avoiding reality. It is about presence, consistency, and care. Supportive people are there when you stumble, offering encouragement without judgment, listening, without distraction, and believing in your abilities even when self-doubt creeps in. Their presence provides stability in moments of uncertainty, a safe harbor where you can regroup, recharge, and prepare to face the world with renewed energy. Supportive relationships allow you to take risks, pursue your vision, and act with confidence because you know you are not alone in the journey. Intentionality is key. These relationships do not happen by accident. They require discernment, reflection, and consistent effort. You must recognize who brings value to your life, who elevates your thinking, and who strengthens your resolve. Investing in these relationships requires time, energy, and attention. It demands reciprocity. You give as much as you receive, offering encouragement, challenge, and care in return. The depth of your investment determines the strength of the bond and the impact it has on your life. Relationships that inspire, challenge, and support cannot exist in a vacuum. They thrive on mutual respect, effort, and shared commitment. Boundaries are also essential. Not everyone will meet you where you are or contribute positively to your life. Protecting your energy ensures that your investments are meaningful and effective. Boundaries allow you to focus on the connections that truly matter, while limiting interactions with those who drain, distract, or diminish your growth. They create a framework where relationships can flourish without consuming your vitality. By maintaining boundaries, you honor both yourself and the people who are aligned with your vision and values. The impact of these relationships is profound. Being around energy that inspires, challenges, and supports you transforms the way you think, act, and pursue your goals. Your confidence grows because you are reinforced by encouragement and accountability. Your clarity sharpens because your focus is free from distraction and negativity. Your resilience strengthens because you know you are surrounded by people who lift you during setbacks and push you to excel. Life becomes less about surviving external pressures and more about thriving in alignment with your purpose. Investing in these relationships also teaches reciprocity and empathy. You learn that true connection is not one-sided. It requires giving as much as you receive. You practice patience, understanding, and active engagement. You celebrate the victories of others as you would your own and provide support when challenges arise. The energy you cultivate within these relationships multiplies and spreads, creating a network of influence that strengthens everyone involved. Mutual investment reinforces trust, loyalty, and a shared sense of purpose, making each relationship more meaningful and transformative. Ultimately, investing in relationships that inspire, challenge, and support you is about creating a life of intentionality and alignment. It is about surrounding yourself with people who elevate your spirit, push you to grow, and stand beside you in moments of triumph and trial. These relationships shape your mindset, influence your decisions, and determine the trajectory of your life. By nurturing them thoughtfully, protecting your energy, and engaging with intention, you step fully into your potential. You move through life with confidence, resilience, and clarity, knowing that the company you keep fuels your journey and amplifies the greatness you are always meant to achieve. The people you surround yourself with are more than just companions. They are mirrors, guides, and architects of the life you build. Every conversation, every influence, every interaction shapes how you see yourself, how you approach challenges, and how far you are willing to go to achieve your dreams. How your circle shapes your with mindset and success is a truth that cannot be ignored. Your circle is not merely a social choice. It is a strategic decision that either propels you toward your potential or holds you back from it. Growth begins with influence. The people in your circle provide energy, ideas, and perspective. Those who inspire you, push you beyond comfort, challenge you to learn, and encourage you to pursue the higher version of yourself. They create an environment where ambition is nurtured, discipline is respected, and courage is required. Growth does not occur in isolation. It occurs when you are surrounded by people whose standards elevate yours, whose values resonate with your purpose, and whose presence encourages continuous improvement. A circle that supports growth teaches accountability, persistence, and vision. Showing you what is possible when focus meets action mindset is equally shaped by the company you keep. Optimism, resilience, and confidence are contagious when reflected by those who believe in your potential. Conversely, doubt, fear, and negativity can seep in silently through the voices that question your ability, diminish your effort, or resist your progress. Your circle determines the mental framework through which you interpret challenges and opportunities. When surrounded by people who uplift, challenge constructively, and hold you accountable, your mindset becomes aligned with growth, capable of seeing setbacks as lessons, and driven by the belief that effort produces results. The right circle nurtures clarity, courage, and mental fortitude, reinforcing the belief that your vision is achievable. Success is the natural outcome of intentional influence. The circle you maintain affects the opportunities you pursue, the risks you take, and the standards you hold for yourself. People who celebrate achievement, offer guidance, and provide honest feedback help you refine your skills and expand your reach. They connect you with ideas, resources, and perspectives that accelerate progress. In contrast, a circle that fosters complacency, doubt, or distraction can impede your success, draining energy, obscuring clarity, and limiting ambition. Success is not just the result of individual effort. It is cultivated through strategic alignment with those who elevate and empower. Discernment is critical in shaping your circle. Not everyone belongs near your vision, and not every relationship contributes positively to growth, mindset, or success. Some people may be well-meaning but incompatible with the life you are building. Others may actively drain energy, instill doubt, or encourage complacency. Recognizing these distinctions requires self-awareness, honesty, and courage. Understanding who aligns with your values, supports your purpose, and challenges you to excel ensures that your circle is a source of empowerment rather than limitation. Boundaries play a pivotal role. Protecting your time, energy, and focus ensures that the people who surround you are there intentionally and beneficially. Boundaries do not create distance out of fear, they create space for alignment. They ensure that interactions are meaningful, reciprocal, and conducive to mutual growth. When you maintain boundaries, you are free to invest deeply in relationships that matter, nurture connections that inspire, and protect your mental and emotional well-being from those who would distract or diminish you. The impact of a strong circle is exponential. When your relationships align with growth, mindset, and success, each influence compounds the others. Inspiration leads to effort, challenge leads to refinement, and support sustains momentum. The energy you gain from intentional relationships amplifies resilience, clarity, and confidence. You begin to make choices that reflect long-term vision, rather than immediate convenience. Opportunities are seized with purpose, setbacks are navigated with discipline, and goals are pursued with consistency. Your circle becomes a network of empowerment, reflection, and accountability that drives the trajectory of your life. Investing in your circle requires both giving and receiving. The people who shape your growth, mindset, and success thrive in mutual engagement. You offer encouragement, insight, and support just as you receive it. Relationships become not just interactions, but ecosystems of influence, where shared commitment and intentional action cultivate achievement, confidence, and resilience. Reciprocal investment strengthens bonds, deepens trust, and ensures that influence is positive, intentional, and enduring. Ultimately, How your circle shapes your growth, mindset, and success is a lesson in intentional living. It is the recognition that the company you keep determines the energy you carry, the decisions you make, and the heights you achieve. Surrounding yourself with people who inspire, challenge, and support you creates an environment where potential is realized, resilience is reinforced, and success is a natural outcome of focus, discipline, and alignment. By choosing your circle with care, protecting your energy, and investing wisely, you position yourself to thrive, to lead, and to achieve the greatness that is within your reach, stepping into a life defined not by chance but by deliberate connection, influence, and purpose. And as you take a closer look at your circle, you begin to understand just how much it influenced. Says every corner of your life, the people you spend time with affect your confidence, your choices, and your capacity to dream bigger than you have ever dared. When your circle is composed of those who uplift, challenge, and support you, every day becomes an opportunity to grow stronger, wiser, and more focused. You notice that obstacles are no longer paralyzing, but instructive, that setbacks become lessons rather than defeats, and that the energy you carry is preserved for the pursuit of purpose rather than wasted on distraction or doubt. Investing in this kind of circle requires commitment, discernment, and courage. It requires the willingness to let go of relationships that no longer serve your growth, that drain your energy, or that misalign with your vision. It requires honesty with your vision. It requires honesty with yourself and clarity about the life you are building. But in doing so, you create space for relationships that amplify your potential, sharpen your mindset, and sustain your efforts toward success. In the end, your circle is a reflection of the life you choose to live. Protect it, nurture it, and invest in it wisely, and you will find yourself unstoppable, capable, and fully aligned with the greatness you were always meant to achieve.